Welcome back everyone, I'm really glad you're here today because we're diving into something truly special, a car that perfectly represents the boldness, ambition, and style of early 1960s American automobiles. We're going back in time to talk about the 1960 Pontiac Catalina, a machine that blended performance with affordability and style, helping Pontiac transform its reputation from a conservative brand into one that demanded attention. If you're a classic car enthusiast or someone who just loves hearing the stories behind these timeless machines, you're going to enjoy this journey into one of Pontiac's most important creations. The Catalina nameplate had been introduced a few years earlier, but 1960 was a milestone year because Pontiac was finally stepping out of the shadows of its GM siblings. Up to this point, Pontiac often played it safe, leaning toward restrained styling and being seen as a middle-of-the-road brand compared to Oldsmobile or Buick. But the 1960 Catalina made a clear statement that Pontiac was ready to carve out its own personality, one that leaned on performance, modern design, and a wide stance that set it apart from the competition. At its core, the Catalina was a full-size car, sitting just below the Bonneville in Pontiac's lineup. But what made it appealing was the balance it struck. It wasn't as expensive or as luxurious as the Bonneville, yet it carried the same bold styling cues and much of the same mechanical capability. Buyers loved that it could be had in multiple forms. Whether you wanted a sleek two-door hardtop, a convertible that screamed summer fun, a practical four-door sedan for the family, or even a station wagon for everyday duties, the Catalina had a body style to fit nearly every kind of buyer. That versatility made it one of Pontiac's best sellers and one of the reasons it still resonates with enthusiasts today. Styling in 1960 was all about presence, and the Catalina had plenty of it. This was the last year Pontiac featured its version of tail fins, which were far less dramatic than Cadillac's but still gave the car a long, sweeping look that matched the era perfectly. The body sat lower and wider than before, which didn't just improve its proportions but also gave it a sportier stance. At the front, the Catalina wore a wide horizontal grille with dual headlights on each side, creating a strong face that looked both elegant and powerful. Chrome was used with restraint compared to some competitors, highlighting the car's curves without overwhelming them. The entire design came together as something stylish, modern, and distinctly Pontiac. One of the biggest innovations Pontiac marketed at the time was what they called the wide track. This referred to the fact that the wheels were set farther apart than those on competing full-size cars, creating a stance that looked aggressive while also improving handling. It wasn't just a gimmick. The wider stance meant more stability on the road, better cornering for a big car, and an overall sense of control that drivers could actually feel. In a decade when many American cars were criticized for being floaty and unwieldy, Pontiac made a name for itself by offering something that felt planted and more connected to the road. Of course, a big part of the Catalina's appeal was what sat under the hood. Power came from Pontiac's 389 cubic inch V8, which became one of the brand's most legendary engines. This motor was smooth, durable, and produced plenty of torque, making the Catalina strong off the line and confident at highway speeds. Buyers could choose from different carburetor setups, with power starting around 215 horsepower and stretching all the way to nearly 350 horsepower with the tri-power option, which used 3 two-barrel carburetors. That setup turned the Catalina into a true performer, giving it muscle that could rival more expensive cars of the time. Transmission options also gave buyers flexibility. The standard 3-speed manual was rugged and simple, while enthusiasts could opt for a 4-speed manual that was relatively rare in 1960 but gave the car a sportier edge. Most buyers went with the Hydra-Matic automatic, which was smooth, reliable, and perfect for everyday cruising. No matter the setup, the Catalina could be tailored to fit the kind of driving experience you wanted, which was part of its charm. Inside, the Catalina reflected the era's love for comfort mixed with flair. The cabin was spacious, with wide bench seats that could carry 6 passengers comfortably. Materials ranged from practical cloth to stylish vinyl, depending on trim. The dashboard had a futuristic, almost space-age vibe, with round gauges, chrome accents, and a design that was both symmetrical and eye-catching. While it didn't match the luxury of the Bonneville, the Catalina's interior still gave you a sense that you were in something special, especially considering its lower price point. Affordability was one of the Catalina's strongest selling points. It was priced well below many of its full-size competitors, making it accessible to working families while still giving them a car that looked and felt more upscale than the price suggested. This affordability, paired with strong performance and striking looks, made the Catalina a perfect middle ground. It could be a practical daily driver, a stylish cruiser, or a surprise performer if optioned right. On the road, the Catalina delivered a smooth, confident ride. The wide track design made it feel more stable than other big cars, especially through corners. Steering was light, the suspension soaked up bumps nicely, and with the big V8 up front, there was always power on tap. While it was still a large car by nature and not particularly nimble, it struck an impressive balance between comfort and capability. For buyers in 1960, it felt like a car that could do it all. Beyond just that single model year, the 1960 Catalina played a key role in shaping Pontiac's identity throughout the decade. It marked the brand's transition into being known for performance and style, paving the way for legendary models that followed, including the iconic GTO. The wide track slogan became synonymous with Pontiac and helped distinguish it from other GM divisions, while the 389 engine went on to power some of the brand's greatest hits. Today, collectors still admire the 1960 Catalina, even if it sometimes gets overshadowed by the muscle cars that came later in the 60s. Restored examples showcase its clean design, spacious interiors, and impressive powertrain options. The fact that it was offered in so many body styles makes it attractive to different kinds of enthusiasts, whether they love convertibles, wagons, or sleek hardtops. It may not always command the same attention as a Bonneville or a GTO, but among those who know, the Catalina is respected as the car that helped Pontiac find its voice. When you look back at the 1960 Pontiac Catalina, you see more than just a car. You see a statement of intent from a brand ready to prove itself. You see a machine that combined style, performance, and affordability in a way that appealed to almost everyone. It was bold without being over the top, sporty without being impractical, and stylish without being flashy. For many buyers, it hit that sweet spot between everyday car and dream car, and that's why it remains such an important part of Pontiac's history. Thanks for riding along with me on this deep dive into the 1960 Pontiac Catalina. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep exploring classic cars and their stories with me, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel VeloView. Your support helps me keep bringing these detailed reviews and automotive history straight to you, and I can't wait to share even more with you in the next one. Until then, keep cruising and keep celebrating these amazing classics. This version is almost exactly 1,000 words, no headings, no bullet points, just flowing narration.